Hey YouTube, how you doing? Happy Tuesday. Scarpad from Scarpads. Comics Treks just checking in. Figured I'd jump in here, say hello, maybe show some Blu-rays and some DVDs, talk movies, talk maybe Star Trek Lower Decks with you, anybody who is looking forward to that. I probably saw my review earlier in the week. I'm a little iffy on it. I will watch it, give it a chance. Hope it can at least be decent. Hey, Perry. Perry's in the house. Not too much. How's it going, Perry? Happy Tuesday afternoon. Just kind of talking movies, checking in. About early February, I put an order in to Shout Factory. And Shout Factory, if anybody doesn't know that, is a boutique maker of mostly horror and science fiction and genre DVDs and Blu-rays. And they always have the best transfers. They always put together the best collection, of special features. But the one thing about the Shout Factory website is they always have these great sales, but it takes them forever to ship because even if you go up to Shout Factory and you place an order and it looks like it's in stock, it may not be. But they don't tell you it's not in stock, and they don't tell you when it's coming in stock. And then with all the virus stuff going on, you never know when it's going to be in stock. So I had placed an order for some Blu-rays that were going out of print. I wanted to pick them up before they did go out of print, some of them. And I finally got them in this week. I figured I'd jump on here, maybe show some Blu-rays and talk to some folks. Maybe talk a little Star Trek Lower Decks. Maybe talk a little movies. Anybody wants to jump in here and talk with me, chat, that would be great. So let's take a look at what I have got. Well, a lot of times when you purchase movies from Shout Factory, they'll have special offers. They just put out a 10 or 12, I think it's 12 disc box set of all the Friday the 13th movies, all newly remastered, new special features. I think they have all 10 movies and the 2009 remake for the first time together in a box set. Because some of those movies, remember, are from different studios. So a lot of times when you had box sets in the past, you had everything that Paramount and CBS put out, but not everything a New Line put out, and vice versa, like Freddy versus Jason and all that. So this is going to be, for the first time, all the movies together in a box set. Hey, Gray Man, how's it going? Nice to see you in there. How you doing today? So they just announced for October 13th that the big 12-disc Blu-ray set coming out, Friday the 13th Collectors. It's available on their website. And when you order it, you'll get a lithograph, which is usually just a poster, a special poster put out for the release. They usually have a set number of those lithographs, and then when they sell out, they're gone. So one of the movies I ordered in this batch had a lithograph, and it came in with it. And that's 1958's The Evil of Frankenstein, which I believe was the first, I believe this was the first Frankenstein Peter Cushing movie, I believe. And this has a lot of special features, new audio commentaries, the making of, theatrical trailer. It's a Scream Factory release. And then they shipped it with this lithograph. So in a rolled tube, you get the nice lithograph poster all rolled up, protected with the movie. So when you order from Shout Factory, this is how it's going to come. You'll get the movie and the poster in one box, like I did for The Evil of Frankenstein. And I love these English Hammer horror movies. I don't know if Gray Man's familiar with any of these, if he grew up with any of these Peter Cushing, or Christopher Lee movies in the 50s and 60s. But, I like them even sometimes better than the Universal ones because they could really push the boundaries of the horror, the gore, and then later on the sex, the nudity. And that's why I like this. So this is The Evil of Frankenstein, 1958 on Blu-ray with lithograph. So if you order the Friday the 13th box set, this is how it's going to come with the poster. So another movie I picked up from Scream Shout Factory is, I believe this is an Italian film, Danger Diabolic. This is like a riff on the James Bond series. I believe it came out in the late 60s. I believe this was directed by Mario Bava. And Mario Bava normally stuck to doing a lot of Italian horror movies. But this is one of the, he also did a lot of other movies as well. And this is one of his films he put out, Danger Diabolic. And he says, I saw plenty of them. You probably saw them when they came out, maybe in the theater. Did you see any of them theatrically? I know you're not as old as I am, but did you see any of those Hammer horror movies theatrically at all? That would be. I would love to see those on the big screen because they always looked fantastic. They always had the best color. Of course, they were all in color, and they always had the best color and really, really nice, nicely well shot. So Danger Diabolic is another Scream Factory release. This has an audio commentary by the actor John Philip Law, who I believe was also in Barbarella. If you remember that with Jane Fonda, 60s sci-fi romp. And so this is produced by Dino De Laurentiis, directed by Mario Bava. DTS HD Master Audio. There's the back of it. So if you like James Bond movies and you like kind of like spoofs, this is one to look at. The next one is a classic horror movie. No, never saw them in the cinema. No, I bet they ran on TV though all the time because that's where I saw them, mostly on TV late nights. Hey, Bubs, how's it going, Bubs? Buzz. Yo, Scapa, how you doing? So the next one I picked up is a collector's edition, and this was put out a few times by Universal, but not well. They didn't really produce good, they were not even anamorphic. They were, DVDs, bare bones. Well, this is a collector's edition of one of the rare classics, 1982's The Thing from John Carpenter, remake of the 1950s movie. This has a new 2K scan of the film, new audio commentaries from John Carpenter. Is loaded on disc 2 with interviews from the cast, all sorts of making of documentaries, outtakes, production reels, behind the scenes footage. You name it, it's got it. So this is probably right now until at least they put out a 4K version, which I understand. Yeah, it had to be TV, no video back then. Yeah. Of course, on TV, they edited those Hammer movies, quite, maybe over in Europe they didn't. Hey, Unstoppable Cock Blocker, how you doing? Good to see you in here. So the rumor is that now Shout Factory, Scream Factory, who produces these Blu-rays, are going to start re-releasing a lot of them in 4K. So I've heard rumblings that this will be released at some point in a new 4K scan of this movie. But this is going out of print, I think. I wanted to get it. It'll probably be a while before we see a 4K version of it. So The Thing, one of my favorite 80s horror movies and one of probably the best John Carpenter film. It's up there with all his other movies, but this is probably his pinnacle. I know Perry finally watched this, I believe, reacted to it. I know it grossed him out. He didn't want to watch it. I think it gave him nightmares for years, but it still holds up today. It's been remade several times, but this is still the best version of it. Another John Carpenter film, another classic in its own right. John Carpenter's They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper. This is one of it, right up there, I think, with The Thing is one of his best films. And it's got audio commentary of the director and the actor, Roddy Piper. So this must have been put out prior to his death. He did die only a couple years ago, I believe. But I didn't see the prequel. Yeah. The prequel is the one they did with Winstead. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It was okay. It was decent. Not as good as The Thing, the John Carpenter version, but it was pretty good. And of course, My favorite is the 50s version. I love that. It's one of my favorite all-time 50s sci-fi movies, the original version of The Thing. It really is good. Yeah. So, this probably came out this came out. I'm sure this is lifted from the commentary, probably from the DVD version they did, because Roddy popped away, died a few years ago. And this has got new interviews. It's not as collector's editions go. This is kind of bare bones for Scream Factory. But it still has a great version of the film. I love They Live. I mean, talk about a movie that is such a great novel idea. This is still, up there. They Live is one of my favorite films. Let's see what else we got. Well, let's keep it John Carpenter, because I did pick up a lot of John Carpenter films. ATK Batcave, how's it going? Yeah, Rip Roddy Piper. Yeah, I finally saw that movie Hell Comes to Frogtown with Roddy. I was a little disappointed in it. I was expecting a little bit more from him. A lot of it was, I won't say it was a softcore porn, but a lot of it was more romance. I want to see him kick some ass, and there wasn't a lot of ass kicking in that movie. I mean, fucking They Live has like a 35-minute fight scene with the two actors. It was him and Keith David, maybe was it? I think just beat the living fucking snot out of each other for like 35 minutes, throwing trash cans at each other, knocking each other into walls. It's one of the all-time great fights. You would think a 35-minute fight would get boring. It doesn't get boring. It's probably not 35 minutes, but it's shit ass long in the movie. So if you haven't seen They Live, I recommend it. ATK, how's it going? Good to see you in here today. Well, I would say, I keep on saying it's my favorite. I keep on saying that. It's my favorite John Carpenter film. I think they were all my favorites. I love fucking John Carpenter. When it comes to John Carpenter, he has so many movies that are just classics, between Halloween, They Live, The Fog, The Thing, and probably my favorite movie I saw ever of his in the theater, because I saw this one in the theater, is Kurt Russell and Escape from New York. This is absolutely, to me, one of my favorite sci-fi action movies of the 80s. I mean, it's fucking got everything. He's got Keith, you got Snake Plissken, such a fucking iconic role from Kurt Russell. Granted, he's doing nothing but aping Clint Eastwood in the whole fucking movie, but I mean, it's great. You got Lee Van Cleef, Adrian fucking Barbeau looking like fucking hotter than hell. You got Donald Pleasance as the fucking president. You got Isaac Hayes as the Duke of fucking New York. A number one, the Duke, A number one. I love that fucking line with Donald Pleasance at the end. Perry, if you're still in here, if you fucking haven't reacted to Escape from fucking New York, what are you waiting for? You got Ernest Borgnine as Cabby. You got fucking Harry Dean Stanton. This is such a classic movie. I forget the guy who he fights in the middle of this movie with clubs and trash can lids. He's a wrestler. Was it somebody Ox? Was it Ox something? Somebody might want to jump in here and tell me who this is. Wolf Ox or Ox. I don't remember his name, but he was a big time wrestler in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Escape from New York, new 2K scan on this. You got commentaries up the wazoo. You got visual effects. You got the original opening, because this was slated to have the original opening was the bank robbery they talk about that gets him into the jail, the prison. They show it. Was supposed to lead off the film. They have it here. This is just an excellent version of this film, Escape from New York. I can't recommend this movie highly enough. And my extensive, he's got an extensive Carpenter collection. Yeah, I'm getting more. I'm buying the collect. I bought the collector's editions of these Scream Factory movies because these are the best versions of them. So that's why I'm getting these before they go out of print. Staying with John Carpenter, not his best movie, not his best sequel, a step down from the original, but I still like it. Escape from LA, this is a little cheesier, but it's got fucking Steve Buscemi in it. You got the guy who played Ash, Bruce Campbell's in it as a demented surgeon. You got Cliff Robinson. It's not as good as the original, but it's still pretty decent. And this just came out with a new, just came out like a couple months ago, I think. New 4K scan, camera negative. Not as many special features, but it's got some. Escape from New LA, new Scream Factory release. Took forever to get these things in. I said I ordered these movies back in January maybe, and it took this long to get them because it just they don't ship anything unless they have them all. So Ox Baker, yes, Ox Baker, give that man a prize. I knew he was a wrestler, and I knew he wrestled like in the 70s. He had that fucked up mustache. The man looked fucking evil, He was such a fucking great part of that movie. Let's see. What else do I have? Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead, George Romero. Day of the Dead Collector's Edition. Love Dawn of the Dead. Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead. Day of the Dead is unique. I don't think it's as good as Night or Dawn, but it still has it still has those great scenes in it. It's still a great zombie flick. They wanted to do the end of the world. The last Day of the Dead, the zombies inheriting the earth, and they show that for like 5 minutes in the beginning, and then that's it. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to do it, so they rewrote the movie. Most of it takes place in a bunker with the military, but it's still classic George Romero. It's got Bub, the zombie in here, the zombie who's starting to, learn how to shoot a gun. That'll be brought out in the Land of the Dead. The zombies got a lot more intelligent as they grew. Steve Buscemi is an ugly yet talented actor. Fucking give that man a cigar. Yes, he is, but he's great. If you've never seen a movie called Trees Lounge, came out in the 1997, I think. Steve Buscemi, you got one of the Steve Baldwin in that, or Daniel Baldwin. You got Chloe Sevigny, where he plays like a pre-alcoholic guy, a barfly. It's a fucking awesome movie. It's one of my favorite. Trees Lounge. Love it. I love the ending of that movie. Steve Buscemi, look for that. Of course, he's in Big Lebowski as well. Is excellent in that. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's had a lot of good roles. Day of the Dead, new high definition transfer. It's got some special features on here. Once again, it's a Scream Factory release. And not a bad movie. Let's jump back to the Hammer stuff here. Hammer. Collector's Edition. Came out a while ago. The Curse of the Werewolf. Buscemi is great in Fargo. How can I forget Fargo? The little guy. The funny-looking fella. As he's called in that movie. Curse of the Werewolf, Oliver Reed, who, if Perry's still in here, may have just seen him in Gladiator, had his last role in that movie. Here he plays a man who's been bitten by a wolf. And Curse of the Werewolf has all that great Hammer stuff, the sex, the lavish sets, the great costumes, the violence. Curse of the Werewolf. And this is a new 4K scan of the movie on Blu-ray. It's got a ton of special making-of features, theatrical trailers, interviews, commentaries. Curse of the Werewolf, another great Hammer film. If you haven't seen this one, I recommend tracking it down. I saw this movie, next one, in the theater in Hammer Time. Perry, you gotta watch some Hammer movies, man. You gotta bone up your repertoire once you finally purge and burn your way through the Marvel catalog, get yourself some Hammer time, because Hammer's good stuff. Ask Gray Man. Get Gray Man in there to do some reactions with you. That would be good. The Gray Man and Perry together reacting to Hammer horror movies? Sign me fucking up. I want to see it. Saw this one in the theater in 1976. I was only 12 years old, 13 years old. I shouldn't have seen this, but back then I tell my mom, drop me down, I'd go see fucking, I don't know what was coming out. And of course, I never would see the movie I told her to. I'd go see whatever's playing next. And I saw this one, Roger Corman's Humanoids from the Deep. Yes, Humanoids from the Deep. It's a sci-fi horror titty romp. You got these monsters coming down. You guys watch this one, Perry. Monsters coming down from the sea, looking to reproduce. Of course, they're going to reproduce with great-looking, bodacious babes in bikinis. You know, and you get your humanoid on girl sex in this movie. You got Doug McClure. You got who else was in this? Ann Turkel, Vic Morrow, before he got his head chopped off a few years later in this movie. Roger Corman. Most Roger Corman movies are fantastic to watch. They're just fun. And once again, this is no exemption. Humanoids from the Deep made a big impression on me when I was 13 years old. And look how I fucking turned out. I'm fine, right? Didn't do me any harm. Well, that's true. You know, exactly. So Humanoids from the Deep, new 4K scan, the making of Humanoids from the Deep. Got some special features and fucking Steelbook. If you collect Steelbooks, you got this one. Got a picture of the humanoid right here. I barked. My dog's barking because I knocked on the box. Hey, Tuffy, stop defending the house. All right, so Humanoids from the Deep. And finally, it's a criminal shame that Perry has not reviewed this movie, my favorite movie of all times. Hey, Bailey, come on. Come here. Killer. The movie is my favorite movie of all times. If somebody's going to ask me, what is your favorite movie, your number one movie, the best movie you've ever watched, ever fucking watched, not going to be Avengers, not going to be Captain America, it's not going to be any fucking Marvel movie whatsoever. It's going to be, in a great collector's edition, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. Favorite movie of all time. John Lithgow, Peter Weller, pre-RoboCop, Ellen Barkin, Christopher Lloyd, Jeff Goldblum, and on. Big stars of the 80s. You get Buckaroo Banzai, neurosurgeon, kung fu expert, does it all, race car driver. You know, you name it, he does it. Got to take on the evil Lectroids from Planet 10. And John Lithgow is just over the top in this movie. This is one of these movies where you have to, Perry, don't react to it because you can't be talking when you're watching this. You got to put it on and you got to listen to the dialogue because the dialogue is one of those movies that everybody's always saying something. And the dialogue is so funny and the dialogue is so interesting. This is my favorite movie of all time. Yeah, Warriors is a great movie. I like it. Oh man, what a film. But if you haven't ever seen The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, man, you gotta do this. It's got, of course, a new documentary, new interviews, alternate opening sequences, deleted scenes, new 4K scan. This is my favorite movies of all time, and this is a Shout Select, so it's going to look the best they ever looked on video. eBay doesn't want to sponge for this. Perry, especially, I know how he's against buying, paying $4 or $5 for a movie or something. this is available, I believe, on Amazon Prime to stream. So go ahead, check it out, stream it because it's a great one. So that's my Blu-ray haul. So that's all I get to say about that. I don't know if anybody wants to talk anything else. We can talk Lower Decks, those new Star Trek coming out from the guys who made Rick and Morty. It doesn't look all that good, but we'll see. Hopefully it'll be funnier than the trailer. The trailer was, I think there was maybe one joke in there that was pretty funny, and then other than that, it looked a little dated, a little. Looks like they just basically took Rick and Morty, a Final Space, and kind of like Star Trek fight it. But we'll see. It's got to be fucking better than Picard. What couldn't be? So there's that. What else do we have to talk about? Now they're saying they're going to make and TK will probably, well, I'll talk about this at some point. I think TK did talk about this. TK, didn't you? What'd you say? Bunker Bonds, it's a poorly produced B movie. No, it's not. It's a very well produced B movie. It's an excellent B movie. No, it's a major studio film. It's a classic, believe me. So maybe talk about this whole GPCDs coming out. They made a big thing that they're gonna have. Oh, Batman's gonna have a sequel series on HBO Max. After the movie comes out, we're gonna have another version of Batman. Well, not really. You're basically gonna have another version of Gotham. This is gonna deal with the Gotham Police Department. I think it may star some of the people who wind up being in the new Batman movies, like the actors playing Jim Gordon from Westworld. And to me, he's a better pick than the guy who played him in Gotham. The guy who played him in Gotham didn't really impress me all that much. He was okay, but he was probably, I don't know. Gotham itself, didn't impress me all that much. It was okay. They had some good parts. Some of the villains were really good in it. Bruce Wayne didn't need to be in it at all. Batman sucks. Yes, sir. Gotham PD Central TV series. Oh, Batman does not suck. The versions of Batman that do suck, but Batman himself doesn't suck. But I will say there's sucky versions of it. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Well, if they have this on HBO Max, they can make it a little more violent, I guess. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's a good sequel to Matt Reeves' Batman first film, and maybe Batman will be in this because let's face it, is Patterson a big star? Not really. I mean, HBO could throw him a few bones, and he could show up. And they're even talking about letting Ben Affleck, reprise his Batman for another Batman movie on HBO Prime coming out of the other DCU. And I think I've talked to I think I've talked to TK on this before. Maybe TK said this. I mean, I just feel that the AT&T and DC and everybody, they're just kind of like throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, because we're in this whole, they can't do much of anything at this moment. Production's shut down on everything. So in order to keep this in the mind and the public's eye, and to keep fans interested on it, they're just throwing shit out, Michael Keaton's going to be in Batman Beyond, and Ben Affleck's going to make an HBO Max movie, and they're going to have a prequel series to Matt Reeves' Batman. What the fuck? This dilution and confusion of the brand. I'm all for as much Batman as you can get. But once again, it just kind of seems like they're just trying to see what's going to be the most popular they can make the money on and stick with that version. It just continues to show that AT&T, yeah, that would be a good idea because I like Curse of the White Knight. And now Curse of the White Knight is going to have its own universe within DC. They're going to have, and DC's going that route too. Probably, AT&T suggested this. We'll have Batman continuity and Detective continuity and Curse of the White Knight continuity and Death Metal continuity, and I don't know if I'm all for that. Is that a Corona? No, this is a UFO white which is kind of like a Blue Moon or a Shock Top or something like that. It's okay. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going to come out. But I think too much dilution of the brand. You know, it just shows that they don't really have a direction still. They can't pick a direction. They can't decide what they want to do and just go with that direction and then make it stick. You know, stop. Do you like the movie Westworld? Yes. Well, the movie Westworld, the original 70s film, is that the one you're talking about? Comics? Yeah, the original movie Westworld I liked with the Yul Brynner. I liked the original, the HBO series. The first season of it was okay, I thought. But I got bored with it. It didn't really, it was slow. I didn't like the fact that they time jumped all over the place and really didn't tell people what time jumping. What was the other show did that? The Witcher. Witcher did the same thing. It time jumped all over the fucking place. And, you know, you really couldn't keep up with, you know, what was going on at any given period. So I didn't watch the second and third seasons of Westworld, but the first season I thought was okay. The movie I liked, and they did a sequel series, Future World, I think was the other movie. And I didn't see that, I don't think, but the Westworld, yeah, Westworld was a good flick. Yeah, the 70s movie, yeah, I definitely love that. It's classic. But DC and AT&T, I just don't think they have their act together, and they just don't know what's going to go on. I mean, and then you have that, and then you have all the CW stuff. You have the stuff on the DC universe, which is kind of crossing over. I mean, they got Doom Patrol on HBO Max at the same time they're running it on DC Universe. But when Titans comes back, Titans was only going to be on DC Universe, won't be on HBO Max. It's like, pick something, move all your shit to HBO Max, or keep it on DC Universe. You know, figure out what you're going to do. It's just a mess. AT&T, DC is showing that I think they're being massively influenced by AT&T. They definitely got their hands in the pie, and things are going to be kind of like all over the place. And I don't know, will fans stick with that? Maybe. But the way it looks now, we're not going to have any new movies for about a year or two anyway, so what the fuck does it matter anyways? You know? But hopefully, I like the idea. I think what they should do is go with a Batman Beyond movie with Michael Keaton, you know, which can extend out the Flash universe, because obviously that's its own thing, kind of. You flash forward, and you can have the Matt Reeves thing as the own thing going forward. I don't know. You could say that's Batman when he was young, and now you can even do Ben Affleck as an older Batman. You know, I didn't mind Ben Affleck. I thought probably of all the Batman actors, believe it or not, of all the actors that played Batman, in my opinion, Ben Affleck was the best version of Bruce Wayne and Batman together, because for Bruce Wayne, he had that whole pouty sour thing down. And for Batman, he was bulky enough. He fit the role physically enough, you know. None of the other time that has any of the actors done that. Probably the closest would have been maybe Val Kilmer, who was kind of a big dude, but he was a shitty Bruce Wayne. I didn't like his Bruce Wayne take. And he was an okay Batman, but certainly Michael Keaton didn't fit the bill. He was good for what he did, but he wasn't, you know, the Batman in the comics. George Clooney, God no. Christian Bale was good, but once again, he was a little too skinny and not bulked up enough in the costume or as Bruce Wayne. So what fucked up Ben Affleck wasn't, you know, him, Ben Affleck. I thought he was good in the movie. It was the script which blew. You know, if he had a better script and he wasn't part of a movie where they tried to stick in everything in the fucking kitchen sink, you know, it could have been good. You know, he was going to make that movie. That movie that they have coming to HBO was the Batman movie that was going to be out in the theaters that he was going to make. They didn't greenlight. Why didn't they just let him make his own Batman film? You know, just with him, and then he could have continued on. But no, they had that Batman versus Superman, which was in production hell for fucking years and years and years and years. And they were determined They had to get it made. And then when they did it, they had a shit ass script, you know. So it's too bad. And actually, the beginning of Justice League, you know, where he's getting the Justice League together, and Bruce Wayne is kind of like investigating who these people are, and I like that. I like that part of the film when he's going to find Jason Momoa as Aquaman or Cyborg or Ezra Miller. I like that. I like that he's in the Batcave investigating him, and he's getting all these guys together. That part of that movie was pretty damn good. It's the second half of the film that blew, you know, once they all got together. And I like the fact they had Wonder Woman kind of assisting them in France. That was kind of good. But then the rest of the movie went to hell. Maybe the Snyder cut will be better. Who knows? But, you know, parts of the DCU has been good. Well, most of all DC movies suck. Probably true. I'd kind of agree with that. I wouldn't say you're wrong. I think there's been flashes of okay movies like Wonder Woman I thought was okay. And Aquaman I thought was okay. But besides, was pretty good. Besides those two, yeah, not so much. You know, for this generation. For the old generation, I can understand why people wouldn't like the Tim Burton Batman movies, and they weren't the comic, you know. I liked them. I liked what they were trying to do. They were a little different, you know. They weren't as campy as the TV shows, but they were kind of campy. And the Christian Bale ones, you know, I love Batman Begins. I still think that's my favorite of the newer films. Batman Begins was my favorite movie. I love that movie. Probably most of that movie all the way through. I love it. But then the sequels, they were okay, but not that good. I mean, Dark Knight, everybody raves about that, but truly, if you took out Heath Ledger's Joker, that movie wasn't all that great. Dark Knight Rises, you know, I had issues with that, the beginning and the end of that. I hated that whole thing where, you know, Batman had to become a fugitive because of what Two-Face did, because, you know, they never set it up. Was Harvey Dent such the shining beacon that, oh my God, if he became a villain, the whole city would fucking explode? Come on, give me a fucking break. That was so fucking stupid. And then he's a recluse in the beginning of the Dark Knight Rises for 8 years. What? And then the whole ending of that movie, the bomb, it just sucked. I mean, you look back at it, it wasn't that good. But Batman Begins, I do like. I don't agree. I enjoyed them all. All with the which one, Gray Man? The Christian Bale ones. I do. I enjoy them all. I do like them. I'm not ready to say they all sucked. There's parts of them that sucked. I didn't like the ending of Dark Knight Rises. I didn't like a lot of that movie. It was way too long. But, you know, I would say overall it was probably the best franchise. If you're looking at, if you're judging, you know, if you're judging the Tim Burton, you know, against the what's his face, the Christian Bale, what's that? And then the later DC ones, yeah, the Christian Bale ones were easily the best of the franchise. So we'll see what happens, you know. Hopefully they'll learn from the past. I want to see Batman like he is in the animated series. I want him to be a detective. You know, that aspect of him has never really been shown all that well in a live action movie, and it needs to be shown. So maybe we'll do that. All DC movies except Keaton Batman. Okay, you like the Keaton Batman. I don't mind Keaton Batmans. I mean, I think both of them were pretty good. I think the second one tried to shoe in too many villains, but otherwise it was pretty decent. You know, I don't mind the Keaton Batmans. They are what they are. They're a pretty good one. Pretty good set. I wasn't fond, obviously, of Batman Returns. I didn't really care for all that much with Val Kilmer and Batman Robin. But, you know, I wasn't too much of a fan of the Jim Carrey was okay as a Riddler, although he tended to kind of course, overshadow everything else. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, though, was terrible. badly cast. I think they were expecting Joker 2.0, which is how he was playing it, but it didn't really gel. So I collect movies and comics. Yes, I collect movies and I collect comics. Yes, do a little bit of both. No, I like all DC movies except the Keaton Batman. Oh, okay. All DC movies. Now I'm clear. Like all DC movies except. That's right. You don't like Keaton. You're not a Keaton fan. Okay, I accept that. You know, I like all the movies to a certain degree. I don't think there's any I would truly say are horrific, but they all have their issues. They all have their problems, but they're watchable. Shit, anything's watchable. I watched the movie last night. I'm going to review probably. I thought was watchable was 1983's Krull. If anybody remembers Krull, it was a fantasy sci-fi movie. I think Liam Neeson's one of Liam Neeson's first movies. It was kind of like Excalibur and stuff. It was cheesy, but it was fun. I kind of enjoyed watching it again. Had a James Horner soundtrack. James Horner did the movie, the music for like Star Trek II and Titanic and a bunch of other movies. His soundtracks tend to sound kind of all the same, but he's all right. None of them perfect. None of them are perfect. There is no perfect movie. I don't think with something like Batman or any superhero movie, you can ever make a perfect superhero movie because there's too many different interpretations of that character out there. I mean, the character's been around since the 40s. You're never going to please anybody. Everybody likes a different interpretation of it. If every person that likes Adam West Batman, there's people that like the Batman from the animated series, like the Batman from the certain Batmans from the comic. I myself love 70s Batman. I thought that was, for me, the best iteration of the character between kind of like a fun, campy character and a serious Dark Knight. He wasn't overly too serious. He wasn't a Debbie Downer. He wasn't a psychopath. They tend to go kind of nuts on him now. Well, in the 70s, I thought he was kind of in that center, Yeah, a little of that, a little of the edge, and it was a fun read. So 70s Batman is my favorite Batman, but some people don't like 70s Batman. They like 80s Batman or 2000s Batman or 50s Batman. Who knows? So there's too many versions of the character. You hated Krull. I can understand why you would hate it. I wouldn't. Krull to me, and that cheesy unicorn. Krull to me was a perfect Sunday afternoon hangover movie. There's some movies that you'll want to just put on, whether on cable or if you get the DVD. You've been out Saturday night, you fucking drank way too much, your head's fucking throbbing, you're laying in the couch, you're in and out of fucking consciousness. It's like, you put Krull on, or you put a movie like Krull on. It's just, it just kind of soothes your fucked up head, and it gets you back into the right place. So I would say Krull is that perfect hangover movie, if that makes sense. With the throwing knife frisbee, yes. Yeah. And probably one of the worst fucking aliens I've ever seen in my life. The alien monster guy looked pretty fucking cool in a disc jacket. But man, did he look fucking cheesy in the movie. Shit. It's like, holy crap. Liam Neeson's probably going, I was in what? I was in that movie? Skirt bad, did I move? Does it look? No, I did not move. I'm still in my original house. I will be moving at the end of the month. So I've been slowly moving in spurts. And then at the end of the month, I will totally move. And I will not be here anymore. So Sunday afternoon, the guy in the movie has one eye. Yes, there's a Cyclops in the movie Krull who has one eye. One-eyed monster, maybe you would call it. And it looks like a minion, kind of. Minion, yeah. And it's a cheesy movie, but it's, it's one of those movies that, it's okay. I got it for like $5. It looks, the transfer on the movie looks fucking phenomenal. I mean, this movie looked great. So, There's that. Bernard Breslau. I believe that's who the Cyclops was. Yes. I mean, that movie had fucking. Well, the leads were horrible. It had Ken Marshall? Who the fuck is Ken Marshall? Did he ever make a fucking another movie other than Krull? And I think that Lizette Anthony, wasn't she a porno fucking actress? I think she was. But the movie had like Freddie Jones in it, Liam Neeson in it. I mean, it had some talent in the peripheral characters. It just had fucking a shit ass lead, man. That guy was like one of the worst fucking actors. I think they should have had Tony Marshall from the fucking Hollywood Squares or Peter Marshall. What the fuck? Would have been a better fucking choice than that guy. Horrible. Horrible. Yes, he played the Cyclops. Yeah. Yeah. I thought who's the guy that kept on turning into different animals? At first, I thought he was the guy from Monty Python. He looked like Eric Idle. He was kind of an Eric Idle looking guy, but it wasn't Eric Idle, it was somebody else. Perry, once again, you haven't even looked at a fucking Monty Python movie yet. Come on. Do you know who Monty Python is? Have you ever seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail? The Meaning of Life, Life of Brian. Did you ever see any of those movies? Come on, Barry. Let's get with it. Ann Rosner was in that too. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's major British talent in it, but the leads were horrible. Hawk the Slayer. Hawk the Slayer had Jack Palance in it, I believe. Jack Palance was the bad guy in that, if I'm not mistaken. Hawk the Slayer. That was another 80s sword and sorcery epic. You can do that's in the same genres like Flesh and Blood and Excalibur. Excalibur was a good film, actually. Excalibur was with I know Patrick Stewart was in it. Helen Mirren. So that was that was up there. Excalibur. That was a little bit different level, I think. You are not mistaken, man. I know my fucking movies, man. I got some movie knowledge in this fucking head. Helped that I was a fucking video store manager for like 12 years. So that helped. Handling them VHS tapes back in the day. You know, now we got these fancy discs, but back then, Be Kind, Rewind. So, but that's all I got to say about DC movies. We'll see what happens. Movies were expected to be open next month. Then I don't think they will be. That movie Tenet that was supposed to come out, which is one of the movies I'd like really to go see. Probably the movie everybody's waiting for is the Tenet movie. That's been pushed back to August now. I don't think you'll see that in August. I think maybe you might see it in September, but I don't think so. I don't think we'll see any Marvel movies this year either. I just don't think we're going to see anything because I know Marvel is not going to, if you see Marvel, if you see Disney sticking, what's her face, Black Widow on Disney Plus in September, then you know the shit has fucking hit the fan, and it's Doomsday +1. Because if they put any of those fucking MCU movies on Disney Plus, then you know the things are going bad, baby. Bad. So we'll see. I mean, right now, Perry Comics is in the middle of like ground zero. I hope he's boarding up the windows, putting up the plastic, bringing the breathalyzers, stocking up on the food and water, getting a cachet of movies to watch for when he's locked in his fucking house with his mom and he's not able to fucking go out the door because people had to go swimming. God bless you, Perry. Stay safe, man. Just fucking board up the windows and don't fucking let anybody in. And they don't even go out for fucking New Comic Book Day, Perry. Don't just order your fucking comics online, and have them bring them to your house in a plastic bag, curbside. Put them on the floor and back away. Just tell them to back away. Put the fucking comics on the floor and back the fuck away, motherfucker. Don't even come near my door. Just saying. That's what you should do. But other than that, with everything that's going on, we're not getting any new stuff. We're not getting new TV shows. Although a few things have been coming out here and there on Netflix. I got a note in my box saying that Warrior Nun is out. Is that any good? I've heard mixed things. Some people would say it's slow as fuck, which is usually the true of all Netflix shows. They're slow as fuck. I mean, most of them have been. So I haven't watched that. Of course, people saw my review of the trailer for Lower Decks. I'm not going to pay CBS All Access to see that. I have to get via dubious means to check it out. So we'll see. But other than that, we're not getting too much new. I mean, I don't even think we're getting season 3 of Titans till next year. I know I just finished, what the fuck was that show? Oh, I haven't finished it. Doom Patrol is on. I don't know, Doom Patrol, I'm so mixed on that show. I like it. I don't know, Gray Man, are you watching Doom Patrol? Can you get that over there? Is that available on some service over there for you? I like Doom Patrol. It is so different. It's so fucked up. It's so, the characters and the acting are fantastic on it. And you got some great talent involved. I love all the characters. I love the actors that play the characters. But I think as the show goes on, it's not about a lot. I mean, it's the whole show of Doom Patrol is internalized. Every episode is about the character. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with character-driven shows. But this show really goes over and above. It's all background on the characters. There's very little happening on the outside. It's like we'll get 6 or 7 episodes of flashbacks of the characters' lives, or or something happening to the character. Like this year, you're getting the doctor and his daughter, and more background on the guy in bandages, Larry Trainer. More background on Brandon Fraser's character, which is great because his character is great. But very little outside stuff. But like now, like when you're down to like the last 3 episodes, then all of a sudden something happens and they have to deal with it and battle it. It's like, it's not, and maybe it's good that it's not a conventional superhero show where they just battling evil guys. But I would like to see a little of that. You saw a little of that in one of the episodes with that crazy guy who fucking had a baby coming out of his vagina. Don't ask me. It was fucking off the wall. But it's okay. Yeah, I saw it. I enjoyed it. Did you see Hey Ben Compton, Too Fucked Up for Me? Have you tried watching it? It is a little fucked up. Of course, the modern comic's a little fucked up, but not quite as much as the TV show. Gray Man, did you see the new season, or have you only seen season 1? Because I would say season 2 is even a step above. The weirdness of season 1 is eclipsed by season 2. I think it's definitely weird. And it's okay. Most of those shows have been pretty good. I don't think Titans was all that great. Once again, I watched that. It was okay. I thought Swamp Thing was okay, but that got canceled. Although now it's coming back as a CW show, and I'll probably have teeny boppers in it, so I probably won't end up watching that. I didn't start watching Stargirl, though I heard Stargirl was actually pretty good. But the problem is I kind of got burnt out and disgusted with all the other CW shows, and I gave them up, so I never picked up on Stargirl. So maybe I'll see it one day on Blu-ray or something, and I'll pick it up. You gave it like 5 episodes? Oh, Doom Patrol? Yeah, I mean, that's what I do. That's my key. I'll give a new show like 4 episodes, 3 episodes, 4 episodes. And if you haven't hooked me, I know a lot of shows take a long time to get going. You don't get hooked after 2 episodes on TV nowadays. You have to give it at least 3 or 4. And then, of course, once you get to, if it's an 8-episode thing like most of these shows are now, then you get to episode 4, you go, fuck it. I've lasted this long. I might as well just fucking watch the last 4. But yeah, for a show that's going to go like 13 episodes or 22 episodes, if I don't like it by episode 4, I'm fucking out of there. I either got too much to watch, too little time to watch it, and I'm not going to waste my time on something I don't like. So, and that, a lot of shows have been kind of fit that bill. So there's not a lot that's going to be coming on. I don't think everything. I think you're going to see a lot of TV shows, a lot of drought on TV shows because of this whole pandemic thing. In fact, I think they said there's only one. The networks only have one new show starting in the fall. so not looking good. But of course, one thing that is happening. Hey Ben Compton, what's up? Not much. What's up with you? Glad to stop by. One thing that is happening, thankfully, is because there's no new movies coming out. Studios, haven't given up totally on physical media yet, and we're getting some fantastic movies on Blu-ray and 4K. I mean, especially 4K, which was kind of on the edge there. Wasn't taking off. 4K is starting to take off a little bit now, and they're starting to put a lot of older classic films like Apocalypse Now, 2001, The Great Escape. I know Great Escape's not on it yet, but Great Escape came out in Blu-ray, a Criterion. They're starting to release a lot of their catalog because there's nothing else to put out, which is great for us collectors and us physical media guys because this is stuff that probably wouldn't have came out if you had MCU movies coming out. Because if an MCU movie came out, they'd have to replicate 45 million discs, because they still sell discs to a certain degree. Now they have to replicate those discs. They're putting out. We're getting a box set in September. 4K of four classic Alfred Hitchcock movies. We're getting Psycho, The Birds, Vertigo, and Rear Window. 4 phenomenal movies. They all look great in 4K. And we wouldn't have gotten that if the new movie's coming out. So the new movie's loss, I think, is the boon of collectors who want to get things like the 12 disc, Friday the 13th set or the Alfred Hitchcock stuff. Because otherwise, you wouldn't have seen that. They would have released it. None of that stuff would have came out. Scripted. Oh yeah, you're gonna see that. You see that now in commercials. You're gonna see Zoom. Why not? I mean, they're all scripted anyways. You can sit there and act them just as well on Zoom. I wouldn't doubt that some of the more popular ones already out will go that route if production doesn't start back up. I don't watch them, so I don't give a fuck. I hate reality television. I remember when the Discovery Channel and the Science Channel used to be fucking for like science and discovering stuff. And now it's for Honey Boo Boo and all this other fucking bullshit. No, I hate reality stuff, and that's why even now that when funny reality stuff comes on Netflix, like Tiger King and all that other stuff, I usually just turn my head and just don't bother with it because I just it's got to be really good. And I probably will check out Tiger King at some point, but it's got to be really good for me to watch it because I just can't be bothered with that. So, but hopefully we get something. Hopefully coming out. I like this. I want to get back to the movies. I love seeing movies in theaters. I want to see the movies that that have been filmed. I want to see that Bond movie. No, none of the movies coming out I'm really high on, but I still want to see them. To me, they haven't made a good James Bond movie since Casino Royale. It was probably the last decent James Bond movie. So I'm a huge James Bond guy, but Daniel Craig's run has been, and not because of Daniel Craig. I think Daniel Craig has been an okay James Bond. I think he probably fits more in line with what James Bond is in the books, but his movies have sucked. I mean, his movies have just been terrible. This whole bullshit of making Blofeld his long lost brother and all this other crap. It's just garbage. I liked Casino Royale, and then after that, it just went to shit. So, but I'd still want to see the movie. I'm not expecting much out of it, but I'd like to see it. In fact, I heard a rumor on the internet says they're going to go back and refilm again parts of that James Bond movie now that they have downtime because of the pandemic. When things start back up, they're going to refilm some more because it ain't testing great. So, and they paid him something like $150 million Yeah, this is reality television. Well, it's true. I think aspects of YouTube now is reality television. All the niche stuff that's on there for comic books and technology and stuff. I would certainly say our community is certainly reality television to a certain extent. Not pleasant reality, but reality nevertheless. Some kind of fucking reality, harsh reality, but reality of some kind. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the fall. All right, guys. Well, it's just a little over the hour mark. I want to thank everybody for coming in here. This was just kind of like an off the cup type thing. Show off a few Blu-rays and shoot the shit for an hour before I have to start moving more stuff out so I can gradually move myself down the road. So, hey, thank everybody for coming in here. We'll catch you later. Thank you, Gray Man Bubs, Perry, Ben Compton, everybody else that showed up, TK Batcave, Comics for All People. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for shooting the shit, hanging out. We'll catch you down the road. Remember, keep reading, keep trekking, and have a good day, everybody. We'll catch you later.